Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the forested hills to the west of Aurelia. A likely site for a new city. I am Marcus Aurelius, and this is Age of Wonders 3, a roleplay campaign where you, the viewer, gets to make the decisions. And Frigoberto is cutting a very heroic picture here on his war steed. But I've got some business to talk to you about. I have noticed that the members of the council have been dwindling as of late, whether it be due to losses on the battlefield or perhaps just a general ennui about our situation here on Aurelia. I find this a little disturbing because the whole purpose of this exercise is for the council to make decisions, and that becomes less and less interesting as the council becomes smaller and smaller. I'm not sure what to do about this, and frankly, I'm asking you for help. Is there a particular reason? Are people losing interest? Are the episodes being produced too far apart, not far enough apart? Any kind of information or advice would be most worthy, because I think this experiment will be a lot more fun for everyone the more people are involved. If we have like 100 council members as opposed to 10, I think overall it's just going to be a much better experience. Now next, and this may seem paradoxical based on our first order of business, but those of you who are active members of the council, I just want to remind you that it's very hard sometimes to discern what your vote is in the text of your entries. So I'm going to propose 3 different methods, and you can choose which one you'd like. I don't mind, but these 3 methods to have your vote count. And I'm going to have to say that if you don't use one of these 3 methods, then your vote probably will not count. Okay? Method 1. Put your vote at the top of whatever your comment is. You can put all of your in-character talk underneath it, but put it very succinctly at the top with a space. Okay? To make it even better, you can bold it, and the way to do that is to put asterisks, that's Shift 8 on either side, or you could write it in all caps. That's fine too. So those are the 3 ways to do it. Your vote goes in all caps, your vote is bolded, or it's separated at the top. Extra points if you do all 3. Well, you don't need to do the caps. You could do the bolding and the putting it on top. That's good enough for me. But again, this allows me to quickly see what your vote is, because sometimes I can't even tell. Sometimes you'll write a really great 5-paragraph essay on your beliefs, but I can't really discern from reading it what your vote is. Oh, also, and for those of you who do tell wonderful stories in the comments but don't actually vote, look at you, Jean-Luc. Vote, please. Again, this is a democracy, and the more votes that we get, the better it is. When people stay home and don't vote, horrific things can possibly happen, like the extinction of the entire Tigran race. Which might be a good thing for you, if that's what you want. Alright, so that's our business for today. Now on to the story, and selecting a skill to research. This was an interesting vote here, and the reason why is because I think some people voted in a way that wasn't... How do I explain this? In a way that was... I think some people... I'll just say it out. I think people who said that they wanted us to produce settlers were kind of voting for the scouts thing, but I don't even see it here anymore. Oh, rugged pioneers, right. They didn't specifically say rugged pioneers in some cases, but they said that we should send out settlers to the west. Whereas other people were talking about building a warlord's command and mentioning monster hunters, but those were 2 separate things. So it was hard to really tell what people were really wanting to research. But I am going to go with rugged pioneers, again, based on the fact of the number of you who maybe didn't mention anything about research, but mentioned that you wanted us to have scouts, because I think that's what you were aiming at. So we're going to go with that first. Okay. Next, we are going to go to the city of Aurelia. And we are going to look at it. And as far as what we were going to produce, the overall winner by far was the Warlord's Command. So that's what we're going to build. Excellent. And finally, as to Satura the Dark and what we're going to do with her. Again, this one proved interesting because the winner of the vote by far was improving her stats, right? That won. However, one of our council members, that being council member Jeffrey Wolf, noticed that if we choose Paragon, it would improve the stats. So it's kind of an interesting choice here because this improves resistance, melee attacks deal more damage. So it's kind of the equivalent of melee strength and resistance combined. However, those council members who talked about raising stats, I think, were mostly focused on defensive stuff, which includes resistance but does not necessarily include melee strength. So, in order to reach a compromise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase her resistance, and then when she gets another point, it's going to go to hit points. Because right now that's going to require 6, and we only have 5. So we're going to start with resistance, and we're going to go with hit points after that. And again, the clearer your votes can be, the better it's going to be, and the more your will be transferred to what we actually do. Sound good? Good. All right. So once the Warlord's command is complete, we've got Settlers coming out. And that was, again, was based on the vote. So, all right, cool. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. And then there was council member Joran the Black, who asked us to engage these creatures in battle because he felt that knowledge of them would aid us. And I'm kind of inclined to agree. So that's what we're going to do. All right, let's see how this goes. Now, unlike the rather bestial or swarthy creatures that we have fought up to this point, these creatures are lithe, their movements are smooth and fluid, and they are quite pleasing to the eye. So this is a little different than what we are used to here. And the men are somewhat reluctant, actually. What do we have against us here? We have initiates, Union Guards, and Union Guards. Okay, so basically what looks like polearm wielders and mana users, perhaps? Let us see if they can be intimidated. No. Yeah, these are pretty solid folks. All right. All right, let's get our sword masters up here to kind of take the charge. The archers will go behind them. Satura to this flank. Frigoberto is not going to do anything. And the cavalry to this flank. Now, I'm going to be careful with the cavalry because I'm presuming that these guys here have, yeah, they gain an additional 3 defense against flying and mounted units and an additional 4 damage. And they have first strike. Man, they look straight up wicked evil. I don't know if the elves in this game are intended to be, or I'm sorry, the elves in this world are intended to be evil, but these guys, holy crap. And the initiates, it evolves. Oh, it's women. Uh-oh. Keep them away from the men. Night vision. Lightning shock. You know, this might have been a bad idea. They're charging. They're very orderly, unlike the kind of haphazardness of our previous enemies. These are obviously an organized and well-trained band. Alright, excellent. Alright, apparently creatures don't have to be undead in order for Satura to do some good work against them. However, it wasn't good enough. Let's see how regular arrows work. Substantially better. We're going to pull our cavalry back because they're moving pike square against them, and these guys are going to move up to protect the archers. Frigoberto and Satura are both mounted, so we need to be cognizant of that fact. Alright, so in melee they don't seem particularly stronger than our swords masters. And they don't have shields, which is fantastic. We're going to move Satura out of their range, so maybe here? Yeah. But now they're out of her range. Oh well, that's fine. Where can they go? They can still reach our archers. Well, let's just see what happens. Yep, that's where they're going. Alright. Alright, our swords masters are pretty beat up, but they were able to do what needed to be done, and they got some experience from doing it. And we didn't lose anything, but they are now elite archers and veteran swords masters. That's great. And we got some gold out of that. Alright. Back to Aurelia with you. Now, our scouts have not gone past this western mountain range. And that seems to be where the raiders and other brigands and bandits that are coming after us seem to be coming from. So establishing a forward base in this portion of the valley would be a very smart move. What do we have up here? Another grab bag of brigands, including some humans, trespassing upon the realm of Aurelia. Let's make them regret that. And we can give our sorcerer a test of his abilities. Our armies actually are pretty equally matched in this instance because most of our soldiers are also brigands. Alright, their ability to pull off a first shot is not cool. At least they weren't chickens. Alright, well they weren't incredibly effective, more annoying than anything, but still. Let's, protect Ignatius here. Those are more of those tall, magical creatures. We should really focus fire. We do have some long swordsmen. But they don't have shields, so we need to be cognizant of that fact. That group had particularly good morale. Okay, what kind of magic do you have, sir? Magic Fist, Star Blades, and Harmonizing Energy. That's a healing spell. Oh, I like that. But it takes 20 casting points, of which he only has 30, I believe. 25. So we're going to go with the Magical Fist instead. 21. Bit overkill perhaps, but it worked. Now, Anya the City Feller. Let's see if we can't use that musket of yours. Wow, what a shot. Took out 3 of them at once. Alright, long swordsman. Let's see here. 7 damage. 7 damage. 11. So they can pretty much take out anyone, so I don't necessarily want to threaten my long swordsman. This might... Ooh, boy. This might prove difficult against Anya. We'll see how this goes. This might have been ill thought out. But we all know Anya is quite rash. She's going to be okay. They did, however, cripple our sorcerer, and they get 3 shots, these guys. Alright, enough of this nonsense. Anya, you know what to do. Holy crap. They really beat her up. Awesome! Good work, fellas. Alright, long swordsman, do your thing. Oh, you're not long swordsman. Now do your thing. Excellent. Yeah, those, I guess rapiers that they have are almost as long as the long swords of the long swordsman. And we have enough energy left for one more fisting. Very nice. Dang, that was pretty rough. I want to give him the kill so that he can get some experience from it. Alright, nothing to get too worried about, though we had some close calls there, as you will, against a force that's made mostly of ranged troops. Frigoberto's going to, well, actually, Frigoberto doesn't need to go back. It doesn't improve the healing any, at least not until we have a hospital. So we can just kind of keep an eye on things around here. Like this cave, for example. Let's see where that leads. Yeah, that's fine. You guys can stay there for now. They will eventually leave. So there were some members of the council who expressed the notion that we don't necessarily need a full stack guarding our capital, but considering right now it's our only city and our throne city, and if we lose it, we are essentially exterminated, I feel like it's a good proposition to keep people here. But let's explore this cave, huh? Oh my goodness. Look at this. Lord Frigoberto has discovered a huge underground cavern, larger than anything he's ever seen on Earth, or his soldiers have seen. There's a magic academy. So some form of organized study of mana, the scouts are saying, but they're guarded well. Not much we can do about it. Lord Frigoberto does not want to stray too far from the entrance, however, and he won't. And the Warlord's command has been produced, and we're on our way to our settler. Excellent. This group is still healing up for now, although we might need them in the near future to, what in the world? More brigands. Alright. Apparently only 3 of them. Jester. And some cavalry. I don't think we want to fight cavalry at this moment, so we're just going to stay here. Let the walls kind of protect us. It was asked by the council that we stop raising militia through the means of mana, as they felt like we can better use our mana elsewhere. But it was suggested that we try to fertilize the land around our capital, and I think that's a pretty good idea. However, our city is invalid for that purpose. Well, let's try Let's just test it on this little patch of desert here. Oh, wow, we could do more of them. All right, let's try that. That right there. No, we're done. That's what we want. Excellent. Heal up. Let's check out this area here to the east. Another school of what we perceive to be mana. Interesting. This is quite the place. Also, apparently, heavily guarded. And just in time for our pioneers to arrive, we've researched rugged pioneers. Perfect. Now the research that was next was seafaring. And even though we're not in a position really to exploit it at this time, it's the will of the council, and the will of the council will be done. Oh, Frigoberto's discovered another, what appears to be dungeon. Interesting. This army's healing up nicely. Let's give it a try. These people are too close to our borders. We just have to be very wary of the cavalry units. In fact... Wow! Apparently these creatures have some type of fire device. Like nothing we've ever seen. How can we stand against something like that? Wow. Also, these creatures apparently deflected our arrows off their bodies as if they were made of stone. I think we're going to need Frigoberto's help with this one. Even that was blocked. These creatures are truly formidable. We may have to sacrifice some civic guard. Oh, come on! Swordsmasters or longswordsmen charge into battle. At least they were able to do some damage. Alright, this is getting really ugly. Anya, do what you have to do. Okay, this Lucky is ridiculous. Like, how could anybody think that this is a good idea? They are literally impervious to all attacks. Except when they run away. And the city feller still stands. Barely. This is rough. Alright. We have to plan this out adequately here. Okay, you guys, let's go here and see if we can finish these guys off. We were able to. Okay. You're leaving. Alright, these guys, get as close as possible and see if we can take these guys out. Alright, that wasn't enough. So now you guys are going to try to do the same thing. Done. The city feller cannot move, however. Well, here goes nothing. Whew! Just in time. Just in time. The spells of Ignatius the Charge saved the life of Anya the City Feller. Oh, wow. So we either get more citizens and happiness or a barracks. For infantry and archers. Yeah, some members of the council don't feel a barracks is all that necessary. They feel that we should instead focus on the special warlord troops of the warlord's command. However, I feel that the diversity of troops is a good idea. Our longswordsmen and our swords masters have acquitted themselves quite nicely, and it's clear that our archers are also better than our civic guard. And while we could use some additional population, our city is at this time pretty happy. So we're going to go with the barracks. But at least we do not have to pay for one, so that's really good. And everyone somehow miraculously survived. That was a little tense, though. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end this episode. Just as a note, this is not a council episode. There'll be one more episode before the council can make more decisions. But it appears in the next episode we'll be well on our way to founding our second city. Quick note, things that are very rare and special, such as the name of cities, or, for example, if anyone wants to claim, if any member of the council wishes to claim to be the lord of a city, or the mayor of a city, or the leader of an army, or whatever, those are decisions that cannot be made unilaterally. They must be made with the will of the council. So if you can convince half the council or more to go with your chosen name for a city, or your persona being promoted to some position of leadership, then by all means go ahead and try to convince them. Until then, Frigoberto will be making those decisions. But of course, Frigoberto will bow to the will of the majority of the council if the majority of the council, or rather, I should say the majority of the voting members of the council, should decide that's what they want to do. And I think that's a fair way to do it. Because Frigoberto doesn't want to be seen as showing favor to any particular member of the council over any other. That would not be right. Finally, for those members of the council who have been following the exploits of Frigoberto of Aurelia, but haven't actually been voting, and there are a lot of you, I would like to once again encourage you to vote. Voting is a very special right. Please take advantage of it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'm Marcus Aurelius. This is Age of Wonders 3. Have a good one.